What's up, everyone? My name is Brian. This is your old man here, and I'm from PCA St. Andrews. Yes, I'm part of your church. So, Jacob contacted me in the course of the week, and he asked me to share a few things, of which I'll do it right now. So, to start us off, I'll read the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1 to 2, which is all about a time for everything. So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot. I'll start with the first question he asked me to talk about, which is what is the best time and age to start boy-girl relationship? My advice to you would be never start a relationship if you don't have the energy to do so. Relationships out there are so exhaustive if you don't have the right mentality, and if you just indulge yourself in one, it will drain you a lot. So I would say there's no best time to do so. Once you feel you're ready, even if you're in Form 1, you can start it once you feel ready. Because from experience, I think I've read of couples who started dating while they were in Form 1 and they ended up being married. So the next question is, when is too early? When is too early? When is too early? I would say there's no time when it's too early to start dating. Any time can be the right time to start dating. Is there a too late time? Is it okay to be single throughout teenage? Yeah, it's okay. Never feel bad about being single throughout your teenage life. I know of friends who never dated since they were 13 to 19, and even after hitting their teenage years and ending them, they still didn't date until they were around 29. Yeah, and they ended up getting married, which was a success. And then the other one, is this just a biological issue or cultural too? Who should I listen to for best advice? For the examples I was given is self, peers, parents, mentors, or media. I think the best person you should listen to is yourself, because you know yourself better more than anyone else. That's all I have. Stay safe.
Hi, my name is Sharon Kibara, and I'll be addressing how far is too far emotionally in boy girl relationships. And I'm going to begin by assuring you and affirming you that it's totally normal because you're in your teenage years. It's completely normal for you to be, at a stage where you're having mixed feelings, where you're having a crush on a guy or a girl, you know, depending on which gender you are and everything. But we often forget that there are actually, limitations and boundaries that we need not to cross. And if we cross them, the consequences that are going to come with them. So, emotional connections are mostly based on feelings and thoughts, on the thoughts that you have on the opposite for the opposite gender. For example, if I have a crush on a guy, you know, I'm going to have that tingly feeling. I'm gonna feel all, you know, cold sometimes. I'm gonna have chills, turn pink when they talk to you, that kind of thing. But it becomes a problem when your thoughts go further than just pure thoughts. They're thoughts that are purely, it's natural for you to have them. And the thoughts that you can stop yourself from having. For example, sexual thoughts, Sometimes we can undress people, we can do all sorts of things with them in our heads, and now that's too far. Also, there's this topic that many people don't want to talk about. It's basically it's just being, something that is being normalized and no one wants to address it, and it's a topic on homosexuality. um this is something that has always been there from generation, from the beginning of time. It's just that the way it's being dealt with in the different generations is different, and in this generation it's being completely normalized, and it is wrong. It's even in the Bible, it's completely wrong, because that's not how God created us human beings to be. We're social beings, yes, and we are sexual beings. That's how we were created. However, because of sin that was introduced to the world, we're going to suffer a lot of challenges such as lust. And lust is where things like homosexuality come in. And also not just homosexuality, but also sex in itself. So emotional feelings are usually the beginning of everything. Because what happens in your head, you conceive a thought, an action begins with a thought conceived in your head. And then after you've thought it, if you think about it too much, then that's when you actually want to actualize it into actions, and that becomes a problem because we have STDs, we have emotional connections, we have when you decide to have sex before marriage, which at some point it becomes a problem. Like you become very confused because you don't know what you're doing, and being a teenager means that you're going through very many hormonal changes, and sometimes you may not understand what's happening with your body and with your feelings and with your mind. So that's why we're normally advised to just keep it friendly, set major boundaries, like keep positive, and you know keep positive company, and stay away from negative peer pressure where people are gonna pressure you to do things that are not going to end up well for you, because we also have issues such as STDs, early pregnancies, soul ties, and sometimes we end up in future we might end up in abusive relationships in the end, because we may cause a lot of damage to ourselves. So basically, how far is too far basically means like when you conceive thoughts that if God entered your head, of which he already knows what's going on in your mind, if someone opened up your mind and you'd be scared for them to see like what you've been thinking, and your conscious, your subconscious, especially because you're in a Christian community, when your thoughts conceive things that if somebody opened up your mind and you would never want them to see those thoughts, and you feel deep down, you always feel it, that what you're doing is wrong, what you want to do in the dark, what you've been told many times not to do, and you still want to do it, then it becomes a problem. And that's how you know how far is too far. That's when you know you've gone too far. However, you can always talk to your teachers, your favorite teacher, who you feel will understand you, especially because we're in high school, we're going through a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and this is one of the problems that you can actually get off your back by communicating and talking to someone. You can reach out to your friends. Many of us, like when I was in high school, I used to talk about boys with my friends. We used to talk about boys all the time, and that way it's going to make you understand that you're not alone. Like we all go through these issues. You can reach out to us guys in the church, us guys at Safe, the committee. You can reach out to us. We're going to create a safe space for you to be able to open up and realize that what you're feeling is completely normal. And most importantly, read your Bible and pray about all your emotions. Tell God what you're thinking. Tell him everything. Tell him how frustrated you are. Tell him how you're feeling about that boy or that girl. Tell him, regardless of how you're feeling, because God already knows what's going on in your head. But just communicate with him, because God is courteous. He has to knock the door and you have to let him in. He's not just going to come and indulge in your head and bulge and be like, now I'm here, I'm taking over your mind or something like that. But yeah, so all you have to do is just set boundaries and always talk about it. Talk to someone that you can trust. Don't just talk to anyone, because you can't always. It depends on the trust that you have with certain people. Otherwise, that's my take, and I hope that this advice is going to help you on how to set boundaries and how to know how far is too far. That's it. My name is Sharon, and you can always reach out anytime.